thank you for all those who are liking, sharing and subscribing to my channel. I'm very grateful. Asante sana. Leo tuko kwa jikoni, we're in the kitchen, and I'd like to show you how we separate waste at the source, at the household level. Separation at the source is extremely important because it determines what happens in the waste chain, waste management chain afterwards. So yes, come join me, let me show you how we do this at the household level here in Germany. This is actually what most homes would be doing. Yes, there might be a change here or there, maybe change of containers, maybe one stream is not catered for, but generally this is how most households would do it. So write me down a comment, yeah, tell me, do you like it? If you don't like it, you can tell me. Do you think it's a good thing that we're separating waste in this way? Is there something to add? Is there something to improve on? I'd like to hear from you. So come join me and let me show you how we do it here at the household level. Thank you. So guys, let us start with separation of the most common waste, the plastic, the paper and the organic waste. So let me show you what we do. So this is the container for our plastic waste. So each household buys a container that suits their needs. If you're a bigger household, you might need a bigger container, probably. I don't know, but I think you might need a bigger container. This household hosts only 2 people, and this is the amount of waste we generate per week. Okay, this amount per week. So maybe for a bigger household, maybe a bigger container, and a smaller household, maybe a 1-person household, may not even need much. Okay, so yes, every plastic goes inside here. What also goes inside here are milk cartons, okay, cans, yeah, food cans also go inside here. Anything that has foil also goes also into this container. So most of the packaging goes into this container. Okay. The thing about this container is that it has a handle, which is so good. So most people would line this container with a plastic bag, yeah, so that when you're going to throw, you just pick up the plastic bag. But for me, this is not a method. This is not a good method for me. For me, this container is enough. Okay? Because most of the time we rinse out our plastic containers. Once you have removed the contents from the plastic container, you rinse it out. Like this was a yogurt container, but it's extremely clean. There's nothing inside it because we rinse it out. So for us, once you rinse it out, there is no smell in this container and it's clean enough. There's nothing that is leaking into the container, and therefore it can stay there for 1 week. This waste can stay here for 1 week because you rinsed it out. You rinsed it out this. You also rinse out the milk cartons. Okay, so it's clean, it's basically clean. So that's why you will not find insects around or fruit flies or whatnot, and it can stay here for 1 week. And I do not need the lining bag, because there's nothing that I need it for. There's nothing that has seeped into this container. And if it has seeped in, it's nothing harmful, you know. I just rinse it out and wash it out and replace it there. But most of the time it's extremely clean. Yeah. So I'm trying not to use more, or we are trying in this apartment not to use more waste, because the lining would be more waste. So let's put the bin for the plastics aside. Let's look at the plastic waste. What have I said? Let's look at the paper waste. Okay, let's put it aside. Okay, we normally place this here, yeah, for support and space. But let me put that aside as I explain the paper waste. So this is the container for the paper waste. Same capacity as the plastic waste. As I said before, this is this is the amount of paper we generate per week here in this apartment. So this fits us, okay? So every sort of paper goes into this waste. Cartons, normal writing paper, every sort of paper, yeah, that even came with the packaging goes into this container, okay? So that is paper waste. Same, it has a handle, okay? Which is so easy. You just pick it up. You can carry both like this and throw it in the containers provided by the city that are located at the courtyard. Okay, so that's paper waste. Then we have this. This is Restmüll. This is how they call this sort of waste in Germany. This is every other waste. Restmüll. Okay, the rest. The rest of the garbage. Restmüll. The rest of the garbage. Okay, this is waste that cannot be recycled. So most of the time, what happens is that the companies that collect this would ban this waste because it cannot be recycled. It is not really paper. It's not really. It's things that cannot really be recycled. Okay. For instance, if you were cooking maybe a roast, or for example you were barbecuing and you used a lot of the kitchen towels and had a lot of oil, they soaked up a lot of oil and stuff like that. That is paper that cannot be recycled. Where do you put it? Restmüll. Okay? And here you also find things like this. This is a mask in the Restmüll. Okay? Because it cannot be recycled, it's going to be banned. Okay? So there's this container here in Germany. So in the house we have our container, but even at the courtyard there's a container for every other waste. So what also goes in here is the sanitary waste that is in the washroom. There's a bin in the washroom that has sanitary waste. So we have separated sanitary waste. So once the bin for the sanitary waste is full, we take it and use a liner, yeah, in this bin so that we can put the sanitary waste and throw it out immediately. Okay, so that's why this one has a big liner. Okay, once the sanitary waste is full, we take it, place this and throw it away. Okay, so the liner is really important for the Restmüll for us because we also put the sanitary waste here and we throw it away. Okay, next, organic waste. Organic waste. My favorite sort of waste because this comes from nature and goes back to nature. My most favorite type of waste. But here in Germany, they do something else to it. So this is organic waste, as you can see. No smell whatsoever. No smell whatsoever. So everything that can rot, we place it here. Okay? We have a lot of flowers and plants in this apartment, so sometimes we prune and trim them. Those cuttings, we also put them here. Okay? So food waste, flower cuttings or plant cuttings, we also put them here. Okay? And somebody might say, why is the tea bag inside the organic waste? This tea bag is inside here because every part of this tea bag can be recycled or can be composted. Okay, it can rot. Here, the tag for the tea bag is paper. Okay, and this is cotton. Okay, so it can rot. Then the bag itself is paper, so it can rot, and it's already wet paper, so it rots really fast. So yes, that is our organic waste with a very neat container. It doesn't have a handle, which I would suggest should have, because sometimes you have to throw this all out and it's really hard to hold this again. Sometimes I want to go once downstairs. We live on the 5th floor, so sometimes I just want to go once, but because this one doesn't have a handle, it's a bit hard to handle everything. Yeah, so with the design for the organic waste, this one, I think they should have a handle. That's my opinion. So that's it. So the question comes, where do you get these plastic containers? Who gives you these plastic containers? Where do you acquire them from? So maybe someone would think that the city provides them. No. That the landlord provides them. No. That the housing company provides them. No. You buy them. You personally, because it is your waste. Even according to the Kenyan constitution, you are supposed to help in the management of waste. It's not the duty of the city or the duty of the caretaker or the landlord. It is your duty. You generated this waste and you have a duty to aid the city in the management of waste. That is your duty. That is your responsibility as a patriotic and a good citizen. Okay? So you buy these containers, and here we buy them at IKEA. Okay? So all these are IKEA products. And yeah, they have good waste containers. So these are IKEA products. You get them at IKEA. All of them are IKEA. Then we have this last one. This is also for organic waste, but we don't use this for organic waste. Why? You remember? Do you remember what I said at the beginning? You buy a container according to your needs. Okay? So this is organic waste, but who uses all this? Yeah? Even in a week, the organic waste here would be still like quarter way. Okay? So this might generate a lot of smell if you leave it past a week. Yeah? To let this container be full. Yeah? To let it be filled up. Not very hygienic. So we don't use this at all. This might be good for a bigger household, or even a sort of restaurant or small restaurant of sorts. Yeah. Something like that. But for us, this is what is enough. Yeah, it's enough for us, and we can manage it well and keep the place clean and hygienic. So this container has signs on it. Okay, I don't know if they can bring it closer. The first one is, you can see fish bones and meat pieces, so those can go in there. You can also see Obst und Gemüse, this is vegetables and fruits. You can also see cooked food, yeah, all sorts of cooked food can go in there. And also plant cuttings can also go in there. So this shows what goes into this container. We are done with the most common wastes at the household level. Paper, organic waste, plastics, and just every other waste that cannot be recycled. Containers, you buy them yourself. You buy them from whatever dealers are there. Okay? So containers are not provided by the city. You buy them. Or find a way to get something that can hold your waste. Which is what we do most of the time in Kenya. You find a container that can hold your waste. Yeah? But these ones are standardized sort of containers. So what do you think about the separation of the common waste here? Yeah? So we have talked about plastic waste, paper waste, organic waste, every other waste that cannot be recycled, and sanitary waste. Yes, the container is not here because this is the kitchen, but the sanitary waste in a bin in the washrooms. So this is how we separate. How many classes of waste are this? I think 5. Okay, am I correct? Are there 5? Yeah, just at this household, we separate them like this. It's a bit of hard work. When I came to Germany first, I was like, okay. Yes, but you get into the system because they're very strict with these measures. For instance, it has never happened to me or wherever I have stayed, but I've heard of stories that where residents don't really separate correctly, the waste company will leave that waste. They will not collect it because now you're used to not separating so well. They leave it there, and maybe you get an extra charge. Yeah, you get an extra charge on your rent because you did not separate well. So because it gives a lot of work to the ones who are going to sort, to these waste collectors and waste companies, because you're all just mixing up the waste. Especially when they know very well that this waste can be separated. Yeah, imagine you have these plastics and just you throw them in. These are just fully plastics, and you throw them into the city container that has, for example, every other waste. Why? That is just not right. So in such instances, they would charge an extra cost, like a punishment, like a fine. But this goes into your rent, so you get extra, you need to pay extra for doing something wrong, for not managing your waste properly. So this is exactly why the people here try as much as possible to separate correctly, because it will go back to your pocket. You have to foot the bill for doing the wrong thing. Yeah? And that's why I say personally that with management of especially things like waste and management of environmental issues, it is just laws. Just laws. And these laws need to be enforced. Okay? So there has to be a law behind all this, so that the rent, how do you call these things? The companies that own these houses, they enforce it. Yeah? So if, and also the waste companies, they enforce it, because there must be a law behind this. There must be a policy behind this. So for me, it's all about laws. Management of waste is all about laws and enforcing the laws. Without that, people will just do whatever they want to do. Even here in Germany, there are people who just throw the waste. They don't really separate. Their homes are going to, and I've seen no separation of waste. Yeah? And they have grown in this system, but they're still not doing the right thing. So when there are laws, people do the right thing. It's unfortunate that you have to put proper laws and really enforce them for people to do the right thing. It's unfortunate, but this is how human beings we are generally, all of us, unfortunately. So yes, what do you think? So let me know what you think about our separation of the most common waste. Then next we'll talk about every other waste that we have not discussed today, like the glass, what happens to glass, electronic waste, cloth waste. Okay, see you next time. And put a comment. Okay, comment.